So what do you like better? These or these? These or these? Hey, welcome to Rolaids Bench. This is Roland. Today we're building the Rolaids Night Vision 2.0. This is the one that I'm using video goggles on, a camera, which will go on the goggles, for a spotter scope, a switch to be able to jump between the two, and as you see I've got here the Rolaids Night Vision 1.5 because this is the gun I'm going to be going out shooting with some pigeons, starlings, etc. in the barn at night. So with this setup, I won't be using this up here. It'll all be through these goggles, which actually has a higher resolution than that screen does. 640 by 480 in each eye. The Vuzix Wrap 920. Let's get started. So really this setup isn't all that hard. No matter what your setup is, whether you're using something like the Rolaids 1.5 or the other one, the 1.0 with the rail system and so forth, you've got a camera and a feed, and you've probably went to an LCD screen. I've played with the goggles in the last couple of months. If you've seen my review on Night View, they've got some goggle setups. Them goggles were probably in the 2008 category of technology. I've played from some cheap ones from China and wasn't that impressed. I did learn one thing about resolution. Sometimes video goggles, if you're looking at different ones, they'll spec a resolution, and sometimes they're adding together the pixels in both eyes. So just be aware of that. After doing a little reading, I settled on these Vuzix. They're made in USA. These are 640 by 480. This is the Vuzix Wraps 920. They make a 1200, which all it does is gives you more pixels in width, so you get a true widescreen, which with these cameras doesn't really help us a lot. So don't really need them other pixels with more of the 4:3 aspect ratio that these cameras shoot. The one main thing I like about these compared to like the night views that I had, them, if you remember, they flipped up. They were a little heavier on top. These are extremely lightweight. They are very comfortable. I got a 17-year-old boy, 14-year-old boy, both tried these on. They've tried some of the other stuff, and they all agreed. Comfortability. The other thing I really like about these is, I know you can't hardly see this, but as I'm looking at you, you can tell they're higher on my head. But for me, I can look up like this and easily see you, and it's right here at my eye line is the very bottom of the screen. So the screen is, it appears like the screen is just hanging in front of me. I can even see peripheral all around here. This is to show how that these sit high enough on your nose there that the very bottom of the glasses allow you to see below and peripheral. Works very nice. When you're out walking around, and it's very natural to be able to look down if there's still some natural light around you, and or look right up into the screens, and with a spotter cam, which we'll put on here in just a little bit, I can look around, and with a 12mm lens, it's a 1:1 ratio. It looks like the same thing if I go like this and look around. So it takes away some of that weird feeling that you could get with video goggles that is disoriented because it's not natural to your head. Like if you wore these goggles, and I got these cameras still mounted on my little test thing, and then you were to swivel the cameras around and my view would be swimming like this, that feels very unnatural. You can scan with the scope. You can, I did some of that. You can hold the gun and you can be scanning like this, and a little bit of that is fine. But if you're really wanting to look around, it's way better to switch to the camera on the goggles. So the other thing that I like about this setup, not only how light they are, how quickly you can just go like this if you really need to get them out of your way, but you don't find that you need to get them out of your way as much. I use this little LED light a lot when I'm out hunting. It's got a red lens on it, so if I'm outside or outside video shooting, I use this red light, and I found that I can wear this right here and easily have a little bit of red light when I need it to make any adjustments, say on my scope, or to look at something and click that back off, and I don't change anything. That's that, along with the quality and how lightweight these guys are. It uses 2 AA batteries, and the little adapter that comes in the box with the Vuzix. You have video left and right. You can hook in other things. You can buy other adapters, but it worked right out of the box. There's all kinds of adjustments for brightness control. It'll do 3D stuff, other things I don't care about. So far, I'm impressed. There's a couple others out there on the market I wouldn't mind trying, but these were $200. I really don't need something different. So let's finish the build part and then take some shots and see what it looks like. So if you watched my camera reviews, you may remember that the DJ230, which is the one here in the scope, is my top pick. That has a 960X view chip. So does this E190. So you got the EJ230 and the E190, same exact chip. This just has an OSD. This is a smaller camera. This other camera here, the DNR230, has the SuperHAD chip. It's just not as good at general overall light. This one though, I can't change any settings on, but I'm going to use that for my goggles. This just has a better low light detection, better IR detection, and it automatically switches from color to black and white, so it'll kind of bounce around a little bit. But for when I'm scanning, this is lightweight and small. So right here I want to talk about which lens to pick for this smaller camera that I want to mount on the side of the goggles. So very small camera, lightweight. This is the E190. This is the little cap that goes over top of it that makes it waterproof. There's no lens in it right now. This is the original like 3.6 millimeter lens, I believe it comes with it. I have that. I have a 12, a 16, a 9-22, 2 different 25s. You can see this 25, a lot bigger glass. This is like a compact 25, and it's darker and not as good a quality. That's a pretty decent quality. The big thing was which I mentioned earlier, the 12 is the one that lets you see natural vision, all 1-to-1 ratio, and I want to try to show you what that looks like if I can take the right picture through the goggles. The 16, this 9x22, so I would choose either the 12 or the 9x22. The 9x22 can screw in. Now it makes the whole thing a little heavier, but I wanted to show you on the screen a little bit about what it's doing for those that have not tried one of these. So we're going to look over here at my stove. Now we're zoomed in to the face of the stove. Now I can zoom out, readjust my focus, which, hang on here, as you can see, there you go. There, now it's clear. So this could be on your head, and that's a close to a 1-to-1 ratio right there. I'm a little bit past the 9, heading toward hopefully the 12 realm. So you could be there, and then say you want to scan in close, you could push this on in and be here at zooming in for maybe defining something. What I've noticed out there though, if you are, say you're hunting for rats or something and you wanted to zoom in, that helps some, but really by then you want to look through the scope, in my opinion. So you might as well switch to scope cam and see what you're looking at there. Again though, just a quick little reference. That's your 9 up to 22. And so it takes a little fiddling up there on your head. My preference is this. There you go. That's my preference. Then you can put this little cap on it. That's a 12 millimeter. Put that cap, snugs against that O-ring right there, and you have a watertight, very lightweight little spotter cam. Here's a little printout that I made on my AutoCAD system, and I wanted to be able to make this available once I clean it up. But what these lines show you is for the small board camera lenses what kind of angle each one of these are. For instance, this is your main default line. Here was 3.6, which is what came with the camera. That's pretty standard. That's pretty wide angle. When we move to a 12, it's right up to here. That's a 12 millimeter. So your view is here to here. 16, and then you got 25, and then you got 50. Again, this 12 millimeter view is approximately what seems to be a 1-to-1 ratio on these 1/3 inch board cameras. So here's a couple different possible mounting solutions that the one camera guy sent to me. This little guy snaps in, tightens up, has some sticky on it. I realize there's a lot of different ways you may choose to mount this, either to a pair of goggles or maybe on some other head strap. I have played with this though multiple times. Here's another one that I will probably try to dig into more. This thing snaps on very tight, like that right there. So it's very snug in here and has a place for a bolt. So putting a bolt through the side would, and a little tightening would enable you to vary the angle slightly. But for right now, a few different times as I've played with this, I've just did the simple electrical tape on the side, and that gives you a little bit of movement out in the field. You can tweak it just a little bit here and there, and it seems to work pretty good. So that's what I'm going to do for this video. So there we are. I know that you want just a little bit of a down angle to that thing, and I'm going to also zip tie this cable on right here. Give it just a little bit of room for some flex. There, now both cables can be tied together till you get down to where you have to hook your battery and your video cable in, and then we'll go from there into the switch box. So in addition to whatever camera you're using in your scope to make the Rolaids Night Vision 2.0, you're going to need goggles. You may or may not choose to have another battery pack, a second one, or run enough cables into the other one. You may need a couple more different connectors, BNC to RCA. Here's a couple different cables that I've gotten, and you'll need some kind of a switch. I also had purchased this switch right here. I haven't even opened it yet. It's an AB switch. It's very loud, and you have to convert that F style to an RCA style, and it weighs about 2.5 to 3 times as much as this. This is very lightweight. So to zoom in on these connectors a little bit, again, your camera comes with the BNC, and then that's an RCA. So I've just got a couple different BNC to RCA connectors, male here and female, and I found that just having a few of the different ones of them, and then most people in the 12 volt systems, like here is a 12 volt Y cord with 4 outlets. Here's one with 2 outlets. I ended up buying a bunch of male and female ones here, and you can see they have these little ends on them, so I can just solder them together, and I can run my cables however I want and get connections where I want to. Oh, and have I told you that Velcro is one of my best friends? This cool little setup already got Velcro on it. So a little bit of Velcro tape on the back, and I can put a little Velcro tape on this too and stick it onto here, or put it somewhere else so that my little controller for my goggles. Velcro cable wraps. They're a good friend too. Okay guys, here I wanted to show you a few tips and tricks just to kind of add into the whole goggles setup. On one point I had been working to use maybe some red film, just like we do on the screens right here. Here's some red lighting film that keeps your night vision. So that can be pulled over the screen, and the brightness can be put up and down so you keep your true night vision in the night. Was trying to put some of this onto the lenses of the camera, the lenses of the goggle, and found out that this thing has a 3D mode. The Vuzix glasses have a 3D mode that shows red and green. And so you can actually go in here, stick your goggles on, you can get it to where you're red in one eye, green in the other. And what's cool is you can switch your eyes. Now since I'm dominant right eye, I keep this side green, which is a little bit more visible, and this side red. So my left eye is definitely kept in the night vision mode. I can adjust with the controller, I can adjust the brightness up and down. And a simple double click on this little return button at any time will change it back to the normal black and white color mode, whatever your camera is shooting, and another double click puts it right back to the last 3D mode you used. And if you hold and click, it'll actually swap the eyes. It'll swap the red and green to two different eyes. There's even a couple other colors, but hey, that's an awesome way to keep your night vision eyes with these goggles. So another little trick that I wanted to share too, no biggie, but you've seen my thing about cabling. You need 12-volt supply to the camera up here on the goggles. Plus we need to take that video supply down to a switch box and then back into the video port to come back into the goggles. So I soldered together, I had a couple male and female link that I soldered together here of 12-volt cable that I showed you earlier, and that matches up with a Radio Shack extension for the RCA plug. Them are about the same length, so that'll get me to wherever I need to be coiled up and into my switch box / battery that would fit here. The extra I can put here, along with this has enough length that, as you'll see, that you've seen that it's velcros and easily velcros onto the stock of your rifle, and then you can bring your input out of your switch box. Now you got all this extra cable, which I am finishing cleaning up the cables tonight, and I will be taping more of this together with electrical tape. But I wanted to show you a little trick. When you got all this weight hanging on you, I found that it's nice to come back, because I'm a right-handed shooter, come back around, if I can do all this, so the cable's laying across your shoulders. Now the last thing that we need is a little clip to hold the cables at some place in your cloth. So if you have a little binder clip like this, you can simply stick one of our friend's friendly Velcro fasteners into that binder clip, run that around the cable so it can slide to wherever you need it to be, and you've got yourself, if I can do this quick enough in the video here, you've got yourself a little adjustable fastener that then can clip to any part of your clothing and hold the cable so it feels free swinging to your head. Okay, and the other cool thing about this extra length of cable which is matching close to this, is all of this can be taken off of your gun, and you can give this to a friend if you choose to shoot off of here and you want another guy spotting. And so you can simply plug, naturally, you'll coil up some of this cable, but plug this into another battery pack. I've got a few different odds and ends. Here's one that takes double A. Plug that into here, and that same cable that did extension will go right back into the goggles, and you've got yourself just a sweet little portable spotter cam goggle setup that a guy can walk around. Even if you're just going out to do some preliminary checking of a farm, no need to carry all this other rig. This is kind of a cool independent spotter setup just the way it is, and can quickly attach to whatever your scope cam setup that you currently have. Here's a little solution I came up with to do a waterproof wrap on connections like this. You got multiple wires coming from the goggles. I've already did one end, so we're going to keep wrapping to the other end till I get past all of. I got the 12 volt lead connection along with video connection kind of all coming together here. And this is just one idea. You could use either silicone or something along that line. When I get here to where all these three wires are coming together, I'm going to go just a little further and stop, which leaves a little hole right here. Put a little bit of hot glue down into that hole. Get that thing going in there. And hot glue or a little silicone or caulking. And then finish wrapping just a little bit more. Got a couple little stringies going. And that should make a reasonably water resistant connection so you don't have water running back up through them little cracks. Another tip on the camera setup with this little E190, I've left the cap off right here so that you can quickly twist this lens to change focus. The cool thing about that is I can be looking up really close and just about a half to 3/4 of a turn and read anything with this cam, or see something there at the scope or loading something, and then I can look up, make another little twist, and I'm again focused in at kind of the general range. Once you focus in at 8 to 10 feet, about everything else to infinity is focused on this setup here. Okay guys, this might be the craziest tip of all, but we're trying it out. Welcome my son Jaden.
Hi.
14-year-old crazy nut who's going to attempt to scald me with some hot glue. No, I think this idea is going to be the best. I've played with a few different mounts. So I've got this closely in position, the cam, with electrical tape. Our idea, if it works, is to squirt some hot glue around the electrical tape, and then, here's the thing, I can look at something and tweak this camera and position it so it's exactly matching up with the things that I see below the screen in my peripheral, which will make this the most natural set of video goggles that you can get. Totally customized. Okay, here, let's try this out, Jaden. Are you ready?
Yep.
I got it close. We're going to shoot some glue in. Try not to scald my fingers.
Try not to.
Good job. This is almost like surgery, dude. You want to be a surgeon someday?
Sure, why not?
Okay,
Good.
Let's do this side. Don't worry about the little hairies, just fill it up. Ooh, we're melting the tape a little, but that's fine.
Shoot.
Get the last one. We'll get the hairies later. Make sure you just fill that up. Now give a little squirt along the, yeah, there you go. Fill that, and fill the front part, top part. Go again. I think we want a little extra right along there between.
Want to get in your lens?
Okay. Go back up to here. I still got some adjustment. The glue's still hot. I'm looking at the stove right now. I want to make sure these glasses are on here naturally. I'm looking at the stove. I can feel that it's hardening. And let's get a little stiffer here. Let's see how close we are. Wow, that is coming right into place.
Sweet.
I couldn't ever get it as close with electrical tape tweaking it. I got it awful close, but it would lose its position. Now that thing is dried in there, I think it is.
Fully.
Let's try this again here. I think I got just a little bit of movement, so I'm going to let that, try to hold that in position a little longer. Can you touch it, Jaden, and see if, what do you think? Is it hardening there? Look at the glue.
I think so.
Yeah,
it's hardening.
Okay. Well, that position is really close. So now as I look, I'm looking at my stove. As I go down the pipe, I can see the water pan on top, the stove, and it's very, very close. It's not exact because this lens makes things just slightly larger, but the 12mm lens is almost identical front to front. Thanks. Good job.
No problem.
Let's go hunting.
Yep.
Okay guys, this is our attempt to show you what it looks like once this camera is fine-tuned looking through these Vuzix glasses. So here is the stove. You're looking through the glasses right now. As I lift the stove up, notice how the bottom of the glasses, the stove is in the exact same position as I come down. And again, we're doing this by hand. It's a very close overlay. Not perfect, but very close. Well guys, Rolaids Night Vision 2.0. Let's go out to the range and do a little bit of recording to end this build video. I actually just got back from hunting. I'm going to put that into a different video. But a couple little points to share with you. Worked pretty slick. I've got a bundle of wires here because I'm playing with a few different connections, refining a few little things. This can get cleaned up, I understand that. For IR, I really like this Pulsar 940 for this little P-rod shooting out to 30, max 40 yards, the shots that I was taking tonight. Its little dial can adjust it so when I'm shooting closer, which sometimes I was at 10 and 15 yards inside the barn, I could dial the power down, conserves your battery, double A batteries. I have two different lights we'll take out to the range. This is the Streamlight 850 and this is an Ultrafire 940. I've got two of these, a 3-watt and a 5-watt. The Streamlight is a real beam, and if you've watched some of the other videos you've seen that one. This Ultrafire, this really is more of a spread, which I really like for the way it works along with the spotter. Whereas things like this one here are focused, you can even vary the focus and position, a focus beam, which works really well with the scope. So hey, let's go out to the range and I'll record a little bit of this through here so you can see what it's like. Okay, here we are in the back room. Got just a little bit of light coming from another room, but here's my Ultrafire, little flashlight. And let's just walk outside. Let's walk outside here. So through the spider scope goggles, here is my back deck. So here we are out on the deck then. Got my spotter scope on. No additional lighting. It's a full moon with clouds, so when I look right there I can barely see that light with the natural eye. The camera gets a little bit better. So we've got a little bit of illumination, but not a lot here. Now here is the 940 this is the 940 Ultrafire that makes more of a wider view. And I have my Pulsar on right now with the scope, and I'm going to point it up here. You can see how narrow that view is. Now it's turned all the way up. With that Pulsar I can dial it down to a lot dimmer, whatever I need for my range when I'm shooting short there. So I can scan around. There's a cat. And let me get this gun on a rest here. And so I'm scanning around and I say, hey, there's a target. I need to pop my focus in on my aperture. Boom. Got him. So I can scan a little bit more, go to scan mode with my, be looking around. Oh, 25 yards. There's a target. Boom. We have Mr. Moose. And I'm going to dial up my IR. There's as bright as it'll go now. Just my scope. Them things I would have had done if I was consistently shooting at the 25 yards. But so there we are. Great shot, 25 yards. On out to 50. So I'm scanning around a little bit more. Got my extra illumination, depending on what you want to use. And actually, with both of these illuminations, I can see good ways out there. So at 50 yards, I think I want to take a shot at something. And here's 50 yards with the pulsar. And that's about the max that it can do. Let's see that my focus isn't perfect. There, that's better. That's about the max it can do through this scope. This is a 6x scope. So now let's trial this with an 850 IR. This is a little too much power. I don't have an 850 that is dimmable right now, but you can see how much more power we've got. So this is the same exact setup. So I'm scanning, and let's say I wanted to go to the scope mode, and there's our 25, 50, 75, 100. There's my dog Corey out there. I need to adjust my setting though. There she is, running back at 100 yards. So that's a good shot, coyote look there. She's about the size of a big coyote. She's at 75 yards, coming into 50. She doesn't know, she's in the crosshairs. So you can easily see there's 150 yards. This is a 6x bug buster. She's been out there barking at deer. So you can see quickly that all depending on your setup, your IR, power that you need to use, etc., this should work great for you. Well guys, I really think that's a wrap. I got all the recording in here, and by now you've already seen it. I'm going to bed. Good night.